Hello. I'm Joseph.
I'm Brandy.
And now we're going to talk about Perm Part 2. So, in this video, what we're going to teach you is how to properly do a perm. We're going to teach you how to wrap it up. We're going to teach you how to put the plastic cap on. We're going to talk to you about timings, solutions, how to apply them, how to rinse them out, everything like that, all the nooks and crannies of the finishing part. Because y'all must have thought, oh, we're just rolling it, that's it. There's more. Okay, so in this video, we need to make sure that we put the cotton on around the rods. You can do such thing as a partial perm where you only do the top. You're gonna do that a lot with men. What the cotton does is prevent the solution from going anywhere else. What most people don't know about perm solution is it's just like a relaxer. It will make hair straight. So let's say I'm doing Brandy's hair, her hair's already curly down here, it's just flat here, and she wants to add a little more curl to there. I can roll that part and perm it, but if that perm solution comes down to this curly part and I don't have it blocked off, it will straighten it out. So even if you give a really bad perm and the client doesn't like it, technically what you can do is put perm solution on their hair with no rollers and take it right out. So perms can make hair straight. What perms actually do is take the shape of whatever they're rolled on. So the reason why they come out curly is because we're rolling them on a rod. But if you keep the hair straight and flat, the hair will come out straight and flat. So keep that in mind. So that's what the cotton's trick is to do. With the cap, that's going to trap the heat in there. So you need to properly put a cap on there. The heat will make the perm process faster. Some perms will allow you to put them physically under a dryer to add even more heat. That is called endothermic. So they go in the dryer. It is endothermic. If it's outside the dryer, then it's exothermic. So the perm we're using today is exothermic. I think technically it's endothermic.
You can use both.
Both. So that's the cool thing about Chi products is they're very versatile. Processing time is very important. You don't want to over process. Most perms, no matter what, if it's not doing anything, then you need to stop it after 20 minutes. If you go too far, the hair will start breaking and frying off. If you don't take it off soon enough, like if you don't leave it enough on, it won't come out. So it's about a guessing game. The best way is to always look for that S curl. So if you're unsure what part of the perm you're at, if it's ready, if it's not ready, I will take a couple rods halfway down. If you can see a dominant S curl, then you're good. That means it's processed, it's ready to go rinse out. If you can see that S curl in multiple spots of the head, then you're good. If you unwrap it and it's still straight, then she needs more time. But be wary that a perm can change from nothing to something in like 5 minutes. Rinsing out, you want to make sure all the chemicals are properly rinsed out of the hair. You can feel it. If it feels silky or smooth or anything like that, it still has a lot of product in it. So you need to make sure that you rinse it out, because if you try to mix products, then you're going to do something really bad to the hair. So make sure that you take your time and rinse things out properly. Other than that, the rest of the perm is easy breezy. It's just a waiting game. I'm telling y'all right now, perms are easy money. If you can get your timing down and your wrapping down, perms should only take you about 20 minutes to roll. And then the processing time is about altogether another 20 minutes. In 40 minutes, you can make up to $120 is what people are paying for perms. So yeah, you can pay me $120 an hour. I'll do this all day. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so when you're putting cotton on, a lot of people seem to think, oh, I'll just put it on, put my solution on, and it can sit on there. It actually shouldn't be sitting on a person's scalp or skin for too long. I was taught to always, once you put the solution on, take it off and redo it. Since we're just going to be using a mannequin, it's okay to leave it on there. It's not going to melt it. It's not going to hurt it. But it's better to have extra cotton and need extra cotton to replace it, because I have seen it where they have gotten a chemical burn by the cotton sitting on their skin. And when in doubt, always follow the instructions for the manufacturer's instructions in the perm. I believe the one that we're using today, it even recommends to switch out the cotton in it. Another trick is you need to always have your perm before you start. So if there's like any special shampoo or wrapping solution, like, because you're supposed to, sometimes you have to put some solution on there before you start wrapping. And then make sure you separate your waving solution from your neutralizer, because I don't remember which student did it, but they kind of did vice versa, or they did double waving solution and rinsed it out and didn't do the neutralizer, and they had to redo the perm again.
These are all good points. We've all been there and we're all gonna be there where we didn't open up that box. I don't know how many times that's happened to me where I've rolled a whole perm and it's the best perm I've ever rolled, and then I open up that damn box and it says pre-wrap, put this on before, and I'm like, so I gotta undo it all, re-shampoo her, redo the pre-wrap, re-roll her. These are all amateur and rookie mistakes. All of this could have been finished if I did what I was properly supposed to do and open the box and take all my bottles out and put them in order. So if you can make that a habit, what you're doing is developing a habit, and that's will be the way you roll perms all the time, and you will never have that issue. So now what we're gonna do is demo all those rest of this part. So if you have any questions, email us, or like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up or share.
Hey guys, we're back for the second part of the perming video. So now we're going to actually perm her. We're going to apply solution, rinse, and neutralize everything, okay? So first, let's talk about how we're going to apply the cotton. So you're going to get your little strip of cotton, and it needs to be long enough so that you can wrap it around the entire head, okay? So we'll wrap it, start pushing it up and underneath the hairline. Come down. And you're gonna put it behind their ear and wrap it around the underline of the back, okay? Same thing on the other side. Behind the ear. And the cotton is to help protect from the solution going into their eyes, okay? If you have excess, you can tuck it up underneath or tear that off, okay? Make sure it is in there snug. You don't want it coming off and coming down into their face, all right? So next thing we're gonna do is we're going to read the instructions on our perm box. So we're gonna use the Chi Ionic #2. It is ammonia free. It is for normal, tinted, and highlighted hair up to 50%. So she has about 50% highlighted hair. So this will be good for her. So we already have our cotton all wrapped around. And with the Chi perms, it's a 1, 2, 3 system. So literally you just follow the instructions. So we're going to mix our activator, #1, with our #2, which is the waving solution, all right? I've already read all of the instructions. So even though you have done a lot of perms, it's best to just always have these instructions out. You never know. All right. So open up a #2 and #1. Pour that in. Okay, put that in, and you're going to gently shake it back and forth. Just so it'll mix it all up, okay? And then you'll get a pin top, or you should all have these mannequin wig pins with you, and use it to create a small hole at the top. You can cut the top off, however, it tends to come out a little too fast and too much at a time. But this will create the perfect little hole, okay? So now I'm going to teach you how to properly saturate each rod. So I always give my client an actual towel to hold in their face. So that way it's an extra layer of protection from the solution getting in their eyes, okay? But what we're gonna do, lean her back a little bit, and we need to get the side, the top, and the underneath. So I like to do like a 1, 2, 3 method. So we'll get on top, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you get below and inside, okay? And you want to try and hurry up and get this on here as fast and accurately as possible. And if you're wondering about these picks, it does not affect the solution getting on there at all. All right, so the solution is completely on there, and it's definitely a good thing that we have our chemical drape because it is dripping down. So we do have our towel, cape towel, so it is going to protect her clothing. Our box comes with our cap, so we're going to put the cap on there. And this keeps all the heat trapped inside. All right, so the Chi box says to let it process for 10 to 20 minutes. And the nice thing with Chi is you can actually put it underneath the dryer to help protect the heat or have extra heat. So we're gonna let it process for the full 20 minutes. And we're gonna check it every 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Okay guys, so our first timer has gone off, so we can check the curl. So take my towel off. And we're gonna check one of the most resistant areas that we have, okay? So you'll take your cap off, and I'm gonna check right here at the crown. So I'm gonna take it off, not all the way, just barely push. As you can see, it is getting that nice little S-shaped pattern, okay? But it's obviously not quite done. So we're gonna let it process 10 more minutes and see how it is, okay? Hey guys, so I have finished rinsing off the waving solution. It's completely rinsed off. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to blot each rod so that way when we put the neutralizer on, it doesn't just slide right off, okay? So you can take a washcloth, you can take a towel, you can take a paper towel, but you're gonna take each rod, kind of hold it in your hands and blot back and forth and the underneath as well, okay? So remember when I was talking about shampooing and it's like a wet sponge? Dry sponge is going to take it out. You know, if you put shampoo or the neutralizer on, it's just going to soak way too much. If you put on a completely soaking wet sponge, it's just going to slide right off. So it just needs to be damp so that the soap, neutralizer, shampoo can be able to get the perfect amount on there. So now we're going to continue to follow the Chi Ionic Perm instructions. We're going to take our number 3, which is our neutralizer, and we're going to use 2/3 of the bottle, let that process for 5 minutes, and then we will come back, take the rods out, apply the rest of the solution, and let it sit for another 5 minutes. So just like the waving solution, when you have your client, you'll have them laying back, and you can give them a towel, re-wrap with fresh cotton so that it doesn't get in their face. And you can have them sitting up or you can have them laying in the bowl, whichever one is easiest for you. And then you're going to go back and forth and on top again, okay? So we're going to let that process for 5 minutes and then take the rods out, okay? All right, guys, so my timer is up. So I'm going to show you how to take out the rods properly. Okay, so you'll start by removing it and just easily pulling it out. You don't want to rip through, and you'll pull the paper off at the same time. I tend to have like a little trash bag, or I'll use the Perm box to put all my trash in, okay? So we're going to do that. And we're going to add the extra neutralizer and let it process for another 5 minutes. And then rinse for 5 more minutes. And then I'll show you the finished product. All right, so I'm going to apply the rest of the neutralizer. And make sure you get it everywhere. That's all finished. Throw that in the trash, and we're gonna let that process another 5 minutes, all right? All right, guys, so the neutralizer is done processing, and while it was actually processing, I took the time to clean up my perm rods. So I got them, all the end papers out, threw that in the trash. I rinsed them with soap and water, and now they are in my EPA bucket getting sanitized. So it really helps if you will start cleaning up as you go, and that way you don't have such a big mess at the end. So what we're going to do is rinse again for 5 minutes, set a timer, but you can also count happy birthday, each individual 9 section as you go.
Okay, now you saw us do a perm. And by us, I mean Brandy. I was teaching y'all theory. So what we learned today is how to properly do a perm, all the timings, how to rinse out, everything like that. Like we talked about before, the important things to remember is always rinse out a perm properly. Make sure they're properly draped. If they get too wet, you can change out drapes. You can change out cotton. Make sure that you're timing it the way that the bots tells you. I know that the neutralizer was kind of weird on this one, that you had to do it twice almost, like you used half the product and then you had to wait, take the rods out and put the other half of the product. So every brand is different. You always want to follow manufacturer's directions and make sure that you're doing it the way they want you to. That way you get the best desired result. So if something doesn't come out, you can always call the corporation and be like, this didn't work. Cool? Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. We talked about earlier what, checking in between. So remember when I was checking it, it had that pretty S pattern only after 5 minutes, but the rest of it was straight. And that's how you can see that it's even only after 5 minutes, half of it was already curled. And that's how I knew how much time left to leave on it. So just unroll it a little bit. I always check the most resistant area because if you check the easiest area, obviously it's going to be already permed. So check the most resistant area, which is usually in the crown, and just easily roll it out and just barely push. If you're pushing really hard, obviously it's going to do an S pattern. But if it starts doing an S pattern, it's kind of like doing individual ribbons. That's how you know it's working.
All right, guys. So that's the end of it. It was nice seeing y'all. And have fun perming. But